So I want to do a continuation of the last video that I did. Um, a lot of you guys have asked me this question about sleep, about, well, if you've had this experience and you were sleeping, how were you even conscious? How did you even know this was happening? And I think there's a realm somewhere between consciousness and unconsciousness. There is a very thin line between life and death. And I think, when you straddle that line, they say the sleep is the cousin to death. But when you straddle that line of consciousness and unconsciousness, where does the dream world start and where does reality end? Or where does reality start and where does the dream world begin? How do you know that your life, this moment, is not being experienced in a dream? You don't. You can never know. But somewhere hidden within this simulation is frequencies. There's frequencies everywhere. And I think because of these beings use frequencies because you could say they are telepathic, but they've also designed it that way to where their technology allows them to control the things around us and allows them to look into our mind anytime they want, anybody's mind. They can be a direct influence on you, good or bad. I don't know if you've ever experienced, like myself, a hardship of moments that just like one after the other, just bad moments, just like something is playing with my character. Something is controlling this life for things to keep happening. When you take 7 steps, you get pulled back 5 steps. When you take 11 steps, you get pulled back 15 steps. And you just feel like someone is playing with you. And whether you believe in a higher power, whether you believe in supernatural forces. And one thing I honestly do believe, speaking of supernatural forces, is I do believe a lot of this, a lot of the experiences that I've been having, and then probably a lot of you guys maybe have experienced, um, if you've ever experienced, supernatural forces, paranormal experiences, I do believe it has a direct connection to, this simulation that we live in, and in which these creatures have created it. you know there's something between these worlds and our world and other worlds. And I think that frequency that I have experienced, between consciousness and unconsciousness, has something to do with it. And it's funny because I always get like weird comments and crazy comments saying, no, it's not true. Your truth is not truth. Your truth is not true. And listen, I'm not here to speak what is the truth. I'm here to speak my experience. I'm not going to criticize anybody for being an atheist. I'm not going to criticize anybody for believing in the Holy Ghost. If this is what you believe in and that's what your experience is, that's what your experience is. And so to have people in the comment section, I do believe, I do believe negativity plays a part in the blindness people have when it comes to their so-called reality. Because, once you break away from television and radio, the things that manipulate your mind, stop eating, the food that's in stores that chemically influence your mind. Once you're able to break away from all of that, you'll you'll break away from the negativity that that is in your brain, that pollutes your brain, and you'll be more open-minded, and you'll be more aware, and you'll be more awakened. So I wanted to share that experience because I see things differently. I don't criticize people, for what they believe in, for their experiences. And I think, when I read the negative comments, in my videos, I could care less. Some of them are entertaining, some of them are funny, and I try to respond back. Most I ignore. But I think somewhere between reality and the dream world is where these beings exist, in the fourth dimension. That's where the fourth dimension is. And I think that's the best way you can communicate with these creatures. And almost every single night I've had an experience since my experience, since the information that I was given. Um, and it's something new, it's something different, Um, whether it's going on in my brain or whether I'm directly influenced by something else that exists in the fourth dimension. There's a, you know, science can't prove it. Religion can't prove it. I think it's something that you have to experience on your own. And I think, like I said before, many times, once you break away from, that this reality that has contained you and programmed you and influenced you and influenced your mind, you're able to escape, you know, into their world. You're able to see their thoughts and their ideas and their purposes. And so to answer your question, the fourth dimension exists between consciousness and unconsciousness.